talk about the Rothschilds, when you talk about the Rothschilds of Paris and England, you know, this family has been in power for about 200 years. They have had incredible power, and they have been involved in fomenting the conflicts and the wars, most of the wars that occurred during that time, the large wars. And they're also the family that bankrolled the creation of the State of Israel from, you know, years before Israel became a state. And now we have Israel 70 years old. And the Rothschilds, they have incredible financial power, and their power is increased when the debt of countries is increased. So because they own the debt, they're bankers and they're institutions. So that when the United States indebts itself to war in the Middle East, as we have, according to Trump, something $7 trillion in the last 17 years, that debt is held by the Rothschild family. And they are the hidden hand behind these machinations, machinations that lead to war. And it was very clear when, to my mind, when we saw this gas attack in Britain involving the Skripals, and then we had this attack in so-called attack in Syria, that these were connected. And then you have to ask yourself, who is the force who is driving the government of Britain, the government of France, and, you know, to a great degree, the government of the United States? This is not the little state of Israel, as you say. This is a much more powerful force, and it's the Rothschilds. It's the financial powers who are able to make the Prime Minister of Britain jump when they say jump. And that's where this all goes back to. And that's why, as I say, this conflict, they will not let this conflict end, because they cannot, and they refuse to let this conflict end, because this is their game, and because they are you know, 2 steps removed from the conflict. They have no actual skin in the game per se, and nobody recognizes them. Very few people recognize them as being the masterminds. That's why the conflict can go on. Whenever they lose it, they can just throw another kind of trick in the book, throw another trick, another log on the fire, and make the war go on.